So, just like a lot of people during lockdown and the pandemic, I set myself some challenges, one of which being to post every day on Instagram. Now, funnily enough, just like landscape photography, food photography and fashion photography, there is another cult, another genre of photography on Instagram, and that is playing card photography. Now, I've been doing cardistry for over 10 years now, and I was part of the youth initiative of the world famous Magic Circle in London. I have hundreds of decks of playing cards in my collection, so I had a variety of different cards to shoot. So did I stick to my one post a day on Instagram? No, not really, but I did learn a few things through the process. With that said, here's a few things, tips and tricks I learned about when shooting playing cards. Tip number 1, light texture. Not to be mistaken with the texture of the props or the subject that you're shooting. I'm specifically talking about the texture of the light. Let's take this photo of a Royal Flush Skull and Crossbones deck from Bicycle Playing Cards. You can see that there's a kind of pirate theme going on. You might be asking, why didn't I put more props in the scene? And the reason is because the photo wasn't actually taken on a table or a desk. No. It's this really cool wooden beam in my girlfriend's parents' house, and it's got such a cool texture to it. So I just had to find out a way of using it. So I had to blue tack everything down so it looked like it was taken on the deck of a pirate ship. Anyway, moving back to light texture. When I was editing this photo, it felt like there was something missing. Then it hit me. Wouldn't it be cool to have the shadow from one of those big nets that they have on ships cast across all of the playing cards? I didn't have anything to cause a shadow like that in camera, but in Photoshop I created several black rectangles, merged them, duplicated them, turned them 90 degrees, merged them again, converted them to a smart object, added a Gaussian blur, adjusted the orientation, and bosh. Just that simple addition to the look of the lighting took this image to a whole nother level. Tip number 2, using a higher f-stop number. For me, at the start, this sounded counterintuitive, but when I took photos of my cards, flat lay style for example, it would either be a cop-out between having the cards in focus versus the lovely texture of the table or props. I found that f5 was about the lowest I could go to keep everything in focus on full frame. In other forms of playing card photography, I found that a shallow depth of field helps to stop my images from looking so snapshotty. Tip number 3, finding order in chaos. For some of my photos that I did, it literally took over an hour to get the composition right. I personally am really OCD with things being lined up and near perfectly positioned. However, with this form of photography, I just found that the more random things looked, the more it helped the image come together. It's almost as if that the perfectly square edges of the playing cards were complemented by the chaos of the props that I positioned around it. Take this shot of a burning playing card for example. Originally I started out with all of the props in more of a grid-like form, but after playing around a lot I found that having the props looking like they had just been thrown on the floor looked really awesome in the final shot. Having the props and the cards positioned in a grid format definitely works in some scenarios, but I found that it was good practice to try different things out. So even though I don't post every day on my alternative Instagram, I do still post quite often. So if you're interested in following that, it's at Teo_Hudson, and I'll leave a link in the description to that. So there we are, hopefully you got something out of that. If you like the video, don't forget to give it a like, it really helps me out in beating this YouTube algorithm. Comment and let me know if you've ever tried photographing playing cards. Finally, subscribe and hit the bell icon. Again, I post around 1 to 2 videos a week on photography and filmmaking, so definitely stick around for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.